The 3 U.S. cities with the most hidden underground bunkers. The last one is untouchable. Number 3, Colorado Springs, Colorado, home to the infamous Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Colorado Springs hides one of the most advanced underground military bunkers in the world, buried under 2,000 feet of granite. Built to withstand a 30-megaton nuclear blast, it has 15 buildings floating on giant springs to absorb shockwaves. Number 2, Raven Rock Mountain Complex, Pennsylvania. Nicknamed the Underground Pentagon, this military bunker is carved into a mountain and extends over 600 feet underground. Built during the Cold War, it's designed to house 3,000 people, including top military and government officials, in the event of nuclear war. The complex has 34 blast-proof buildings, reinforced tunnels, and even its own underground fire department. Number 1, Mount Weather, Virginia. Located just 48 miles from Washington, D.C., Mount Weather is a top-secret FEMA facility stretching more than 500 feet underground. Originally built for Cold War emergencies, it can support hundreds of officials for extended periods and is still used for disaster simulations and national emergencies.
Kalala Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak, Wadash, and double honors to the elders of D.U.M.B.S. Ruel. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah. Today's lesson, the D.U.M.B.S. And when it comes to the abbreviation of the word D.U.M.B.S, the U.S. program for building these underground bunkers is known as D.U.M.B.S, which stands for Deep Underground Military Bases. Now, the commentator of that short video that you saw went on to say that the last D.U.M.B was untouchable. And when it comes to that statement, that is false. It does not matter how many D.U.M.Bs are built upon modern-day Babylon the Great. Her judgment is still the same, according to the scripture of Jeremiah 51:29. She shall become desolate and without inhabitants. The land shall be pelted with those 200 million arrows of mass destruction. That's why Jeremiah 51:29 has said that it shall become desolate and without inhabitants. And that's the key words, desolate and without inhabitants. And if you have one arrow exploding on top of another, that will eventually chip away at those mountainous regions. That's another reason why the elites of America will hide themselves in the bunkers of the other nations. They will survive in those outside underground facilities in order to fulfill the scripture of Psalms 149 verse 8 and 9. So those facilities are not untouchable. With that being said, let's begin in Amos 9:2, which says the following. Amos 9:2, though they dig into hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Though they dig into hell, meaning into their deep underground military bases, or D.U.M.B.S, D.U.M.B.S, deep underground military bases. Then shall my hand take them. Once the smoke clears, then shall the Lord, Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, utilize his chosen elect men in power to take them captives. Right, as Psalms 149:8 and verse 9 says, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. So in the perfect balance of things, the table shall be turned. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Beginning with the top banking families. That's the reason why the top wicked elite will survive the destruction in other countries to fulfill this prophecy, because nothing will survive upon Babylon the Great. And when it comes to the true nation of Israel, which consists of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, they served under their enemies, but in the perfect balance of the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, those enemies shall serve the true nation of Israel as servants and as handmaids. The table shall be turned in the Lord's perfect balance. The Lord is about a perfect balance according to the scripture of Proverbs 11 and 1. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Meaning that they shall even be brought down from among their space station. Amos 9 and 3. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, mountainous region over there in Israel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Even the enormous Leviathan that was made to inhabit the moist shall bite them at the bottom of the sea. So he shall also get involved. The Most High shall send him. And that word bite, according to its etymology online, means to pierce or cut with the teeth. So in other words, there will be no place to run and no place to hide from the eyes and judgment of the Lord Yahweh Yahushai. And the eyes of the Lord are the angels. Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Just like the song of Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. But when it comes to those places of refuge upon Babylon the Great, which is America, they shall only be temporary. Because the scripture of Jeremiah 51 and 29 has said that it shall become a desolation and without inhabitant. Without inhabitants. With that being said, let's go over to Jeremiah 51 and 29. Jeremiah 51 and 29. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. And this is the will of the Lord. This Babylon is not referring to ancient Iraq, but speaks of modern day Babylon the Great, which is America. And biblical prophecy has said, for every purpose of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. And Russia, along with the other nations, shall shoot forth their arrows of destruction. Biblical scripture clearly states that the army of the horsemen was 200 million missiles. Let's go over to that scripture. And this is Revelation 9 and 16. And this is how it shall be done. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And this scripture speaks of the 200 million missiles that shall take flight. Many missiles capable of carrying multiple warheads inside of that one missile alone. So imagine if multiple inbound missiles were to hit the same spot. It will chip away at the land or mountainous region until there is nothing. And the reason I say that is because I asked Google a question. What happens at ground zero of a nuclear detonation? And its reply was, thermal radiation is so intense that almost everything close to ground zero is vaporized. The extreme heat causes severe burns and ignites fires over a large area, which coalesce into a giant firestorm. Even people in underground shelters face likely death due to a lack of oxygen and carbon monoxide poisoning. And when it comes to the detonation of nuclear weapons, the radioactive material that is carried up into the air returns back to the earth as radioactive fallout. And that's right. That's where that wormwood of contamination comes into play. Revelation 8 and 11. And when it comes to the word wormwood, it's of Ukrainian translation, meaning Chernobyl. And we all know about the Chernobyl disaster that began on April 26 of 1986 with the explosion of the number 4 reactor of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant near the city of Pripyat. So just imagine a constant bombardment of missiles falling upon modern-day Babylon the Great. Nothing shall live. It's just as it says here upon this Google paragraph. Even people in underground shelters face likely death due to a lack of oxygen and carbon monoxide poisoning. And that ties in with the scripture of Jeremiah 51 and 29. To make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. And when it comes to the elites, they know what's going to happen unto Babylon the Great, modern day Babylon the Great, which is America. Great judgment is coming. That's why they're going to build in other places. Revelation 9 and 17. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Now, here's a question. Can real horses shoot forth fire, jacinth, and brimstone? No. The answer to that is no. This scripture refers to the deadly effects of a nuclear detonation. The heads of the horses speaks of those nuclear warheads of destruction. Remember, one missile can carry multiple warheads, and they show you that in the movie Iron Man with the Jericho missile. And these missiles that shall be shot into the ends of the world represent destruction and the end of this wicked generation and wicked civilization at hand. The Lord is coming to establish his righteous kingdom upon this earth. It shall be on earth as it is in heaven. And the real servants of the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, that are stationed in these four corners of the earth are telling you what is getting ready to happen, what is getting ready to occur and take place in these last days. And the scripture of Ecclesiastes 3 and 8 has said, a time of war and a time of peace. But no longer are the nations at peace with one another. Now they find themselves in high war tensions with one another and continue in those high tensions. With that being said, let's go over to that scripture of 2 Esdras 16 and 13, since I mentioned it. Here we have 2 Esdras 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. The bow represents the silo and the arrow represents the missile. And those wasters to destroy will be guided by the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, and they shall all fall on their strategic and destined targets, and nothing shall be left upon modern day Babylon the Great. But as soon as the CHIP is declared and implemented, then follows World War III. That inevitable destructive war. And that move will be the end of Esau Edom's wicked rulership on earth. As they say in chess, checkmate. Meaning that the Edomite kings of Edom are helpless. But after the missiles touch down, the scenery and landscapes you once knew shall change drastically in that besom of destruction. Just like when you sweep and you kick up that dust with the motion of the broom, that's how it shall be in those detonations. A great wall of fire shall be coming. But for those that do not think that the scriptures speak about the deadly effects of a nuclear detonation, you are truly mistaken. Let's go over to the scripture of Zechariah 14 and 12, which says the following. Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague, because those nukes are the last plague. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is a people before a place. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. The last plague are the arrows, aka nukes of destruction, that will consume everything in their destructive paths. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And this is due to that destroying wind sweeping them away. The same scenario as when Sarah Connor held the fence in her dream and was suddenly swept away by the heat of the destroying wind. She was swept away by that besom of destruction. Babylon the Great shall become a big lake of fire when it's all said and done. And it shall never again rise to power. The land of the small hats, they shall be hit too, but they shall rebuild. But when it comes to modern day Babylon the Great, it shall never rebuild. It shall be called the Forbidden Zone. But with that being said, Ka'alam Malak Yahweh wa Yahushai Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the elders of D.U.M.B.S. Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah, and to the Akwath who listen, Shalom as well, Barakatah.